Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. Middle of the week, not too far away from the playoff game. A lot of people are doubting if the Seahawks can beat Carolina. Just remember, Carolina barely won in Seattle, got down to the last minute field goal, won the game. And I'm not ready to give my prediction yet. I know Seattle's going to win this game. I just don't know how close it's going to be because they both have great defenses and really good offenses. So it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a fun game to watch. As you can see from the bags, we're doing a blind tasting today. I want to do a few of those over the next couple of weeks. I keep saying that, but I am. I've got some nice lineups here. They're in the rack behind me. I've got a good lineup of wines to do blind. I think it's going to be fun. I know a lot of you guys like the blind format. It's always interesting because it's kind of fun to see where these wines fall without me seeing them first. We're doing Chardonnay. And I know a lot of you out there drink Chardonnay because it is the #1 selling varietal in the United States. And it's an interesting wine. It's actually named after a little town, commune, in Burgundy. Its origin is Burgundy, France, in a little town called Chardonnay. And it means, what does it mean? It means place of thistles. I guess there's a lot of thistles in that town. Place of thistles. Interesting to look at Chardonnay and how much is grown. There's 95,000 acres planted in the United States alone. 95,000 acres, nearly 95,000. 110,000 acres in France. And then Australia has 67,000 acres planted of Chardonnay. Just gives you an idea of how much people invest in the Chardonnay fruit and how much they sell. For those of you who don't know, it's always fun to come up with these are kind of just fun facts about Chardonnay. Actually, it's one of the main grapes of Champagne, if you didn't know that. Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier. Chardonnay is a huge factor in Champagne. If it says Blanc de Blanc on the label of a sparkling wine or from Champagne, it means 100% Chardonnay. And some of them, Chardonnay gives that Champagne or sparkling wine a bigger depth, bigger mid-palate. It really adds a new dimension to sparkling wine or Champagne from the Champagne region of France. Also, it is known famously as Chablis in the furthest north of Burgundy, really close to Champagne, is Chablis, and Chablis is 100% Chardonnay, for those of you who didn't know that. And it is very different in style, very chalky soils, a lot of fossilized seashells in that region, and it really comes through in the wine. A lot of people are just really fanatic about Chablis and that style of Chardonnay. Another Chardonnay grown in the Burgundy and in the Loire Valley is Pouilly-Fuissé. And Pouilly-Fuissé is another name for Chardonnay in France. So there you go. I know it can be confusing when you're reading French labels. You see Pouilly-Fuissé, what is that? Well, it's Chardonnay. If you see Chablis, what is that? It's Chardonnay. But what's really gotten me kind of excited is recently we have seen less and less people going ABC, anything but Chardonnay. I forgot to take the corks out of these. My wife helped me set this up, so I have no idea the order in which these are in or what they are. So we're going to take these corks out. I told her we gave her corks that did not coincide with the wine. I do know there are 2 Washington Chardonnays and 2 California Chardonnays, just so you know, and I have no idea what order she put them in. So let's get started right off with number 1. Number 1. Numero uno. Rinse. Now I'm having trouble getting comments. I'll just be honest with you. I have a few people comment, But what I'd really like to know is, do you like blind tastings? Is that something that kind of is cool? Do you enjoy watching these more? I know sometimes I get a larger hit on blind tastings. And what is the advantage of blind tasting? I know that I've tasted wine for many, many years, and I feel like I can objectively judge a wine. I think it's more advantageous for the cheaper wines versus more expensive wines, because more expensive wines I tend to be a little bit harsher in my judgment of those wines, because I expect it to maintain the level of the price they're charging for it. So let's see what we get on the nose with this one. Just a lot of pears on this. I like the nose on this. A lot of pineapple. A little bit of oak coming through, which is no surprise with Chardonnay. Chardonnay, and again, the color on this, a little bit golden on this one. Not entirely. I've seen them much darker than this, so hopefully you can see that. A little bit of apple coming through. You can get that kind of butteriness to this Chardonnay, which is what a lot of people like about Chardonnay. I've also noticed a tendency for unoaked Chardonnay. I think it's becoming a... It's never really gotten a lot of traction. I don't see it like a huge swing, but there's more people seeking out unoaked Chardonnays these days. That Chardonnay fruit is beautiful without the oak. But the cool thing about Chard is when you put a little oak on it, it creates all these like buttered popcorn, butterscotch, all these really exotic flavors. Let's see what we get on the palate. Predominantly pineapple coming through on this with a little bit of apple underneath and some pear, more like Asian pear, you know, not that heavy pear like a Bartlett, just a lighter pear. The oak is a little bit intrusive on this. What I mean is that it doesn't kind of go seamlessly across the palate. You get that fruit, but then that oak kind of just says, okay, I'm coming in. Some people might like this, a little bit of lumber on this one. I left these right out on my porch. It's not super cold outside. I think the temperature is just right for most of you that will drink Chardonnay. I'll say it over and over again, and whether you agree with me or not, you can say so. You can say if you agree with me or not. I don't drink them at room temperature because I do not believe a majority of you drink them at room temperature. I think some of you drink them too cold, but I think around 46 to 50 degrees is perfect. 47, 48, somewhere in there. Good temperature for Chardonnay. So I try to drink it at the level that I think, you know, kind of in between what most of you do and what few of you do. Try to strike that nice balance. There's a lot of things I like about this Chardonnay, but the one thing that disappoints me the most is that oak intrusion that just kind of is there. It's like this wine is like a bed of pineapple and apples and pears, and all of a sudden this, like I said, that oak just like, boom, there I am, boom, and then it kind of lingers on the finish. So that part is disappointing on this wine. All right, put that over there. Let's move on. By the way, just, I know a lot of you know this already, but for those of you that don't, the warmer a white wine gets, the more aromatics and more flavors that come out of it. So if you're looking to get a little bit more out of your wine, in white wine, you might want to go towards the warmer side. I know it's not something that sounds refreshing or anything, but yeah, just an idea. If you want to give it a try. Oh, wait a minute. Out of order here. Kind of a waste. But I want to do it in order. I don't know what my wife did. Thank you, Bridget, for taking the time to set these wines up. I really appreciate it. Okay, wine number 2. It's kind of fun for me too. You know, I like, let's see. I probably shouldn't have wrote it. Anyway, I'm going to set the ones that I already reviewed over here. So let's see what we get on the nose. So the color on this is, to me, is just a little more golden than the other one. I don't know if you can see that there, but just a little touch more golden than the last one. Let's see what we get on the nose. This one is really more like buttered popcorn. Absolutely. Interesting, like a tarragon or a big time tarragon. Herbal component coming through, which I find very intriguing. Like butter, not over the top butter, and an herbal component like tarragon, maybe a little bit of rosemary. Yeah, very curious. I love it. Kind of a little bit of a lemon element coming through underneath. Let's see what we get on the palate. I'm excited to try this one actually. Wow, this one's tight. This one's almost like too young to drink. Yes, Chardonnays can age. There's certain producers where you really can age those Chardonnays. We'll talk about those a little bit later, but especially white Burgundy, there's some of them that can age up to 20 years. Just depends on the producer, what you know about it. Do a little bit of research if you want to, if you're into that sort of saving Chardonnays. There is one producer that from the U.S. that I do save their Chardonnay. I know there's a couple that you could save them. I like to save them from 5 to 8 years. I just think they add a new dimension. But this one is really, really tight. There's oak, and I want to say the oak is holding the fruit back, but I can't entirely tell because it doesn't, the oak is there, but it's not such a prominent, like number one, I mean it was obvious oak intrusion. This one is well integrated in with the fruit. I get a little bit of pineapple, a little bit of lemon, that herbal component comes through. There's definitely a minerality to this one that I find very intriguing. You know, very clean on the finish. This is an interesting Chardonnay. This takes me back to Burgundy just a little bit, which I like a lot. A little bit more oak, perhaps. Yeah, it's pretty well integrated. I'm really digging this Chardonnay. The oak is a little stronger than I'd like to see. I mean, prominent in it, and a little white pepper on the finish. I'll put it in the right place this time. I'm getting a little burn aspect on the backside, which I find very curious. Alright, it's okay, not super excited, I've had better. Alright, now, let's move on. Number 3, can you see that? Number 3. Okay. Even darker in color, quite a bit darker in color than the other two. A lot more yellow, gold sort of thing going on. So let's see what we get on the nose. This has almost like this is very much Burgundy, that kind of stinky sulfur thing that happens with Burgundy quite a bit. I get a buttery element, a little bit of wet stone. A little bit of a fig walnut component coming through, which I find very interesting. Yeah, very nutty on the nose, which is pretty intriguing to me. like butter and walnuts and fig and whetstone. Pretty cool. Let's see what we get on the palate. Now, the last one I tasted, I thought the oak might have been a little, you know, it was there, but this one, talk about a difference. I get this real buttery fig component, not huge on the fig, just lightly figged, whetstone, a little steely on the back end, but there's obviously oak on this, but it's so well integrated that it kind of just disappears in the fruit and all the other things going on. Almost a banana, very tropical banana, pears, a little bit of pineapple, butter. I mean this, and then it finishes so clean, but you can tell this has depth to it. This is very complex, layered Chardonnay that is really, really interesting. Alright, I like this one a lot. I like it a lot. Okay, move on. Number 4. By the way, Chardonnay's parents are Gouais Blanc and Pinot. Number 4. Wow. I can tell right off the bat this one is a lot lighter. Man, huge difference in color. This one is the lightest of the bunch, really close to number 1, but by far the lightest of all of them. Curious about this one. Let's see what we get on the nose. Wow, totally different. That's the amazing thing about wine, don't you think? I mean, here we got 3 Chardonnays. This one's totally different. A lot of flowers, melon coming through, tons of white flowers. A little bit of a bubble gum. It reminds me a little bit of juicy fruit bubble gum, but not the candy-ish, just the essence of that. A little bit of a like sweet apple and pear. Very, like, it's almost steely on the nose, almost like you're tasting, you're smelling all these things in a stainless steel bowl. Man, I just can't get over the kind of that like juicy fruit bubble gum, sort of all that different, those aromas coming out of it. Entirely different than the other ones. A little bit of coconut meat coming through too, which I like. Let's see what we get on the palate. This is the fruitiest of the bunch, almost too sweet for me. I mean, it has this really fruit-forward element to it that almost is off-putting to me a little bit. Not what I'm expecting from a Chardonnay. Now, I think this has very little oak, if any. I'm almost getting like a sweet mango, sweet papaya, a little bit of pear coming through, a little bit of melon, but it's a little too fruit forward for me. I mean, quite a bit too fruit forward for me. Not what I'm, personally not what I'm looking for in a Chardonnay. Now, that being said, that's my palate. So I'm going to try to judge this based on the qualities of it. I just think it's too fruit forward. I think it jumps out at you too much. It's almost like overripe Chardonnay. Yeah, it's almost sugar-fied a little bit, which it's not disgusting. Terrible word to use. It's not terrible. It's just not what I'm looking for in a Chard. I believe it's unoaked. I don't know that for sure. I mean, I don't get very much oak on this. I get the fruit, which I really like, but it's a little too sweet fruit. I mean, it's almost like the sugar, the grams of sugar are just up there too much for my taste. It seems to be, I just don't, it's not flowing very well across my palate. I mean, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's line them up and see what we got. Ooh. Okay, so last place, number 4. That was pretty obvious. Second to last, number 1. Let's line this up. There we go. Number 2. Number 3. Okay, there you go. So, in last place, with a C-, almost went D+, I thought that's a little harsh. Thought it was a little too sweet. Thought it just didn't seem right on the palate. It just seemed there was a lot going on that were wrong. Okay, this is the Savaya Chardonnay, Columbia Valley, Stillwater Creek Vineyard, $26. Yeah, I just did not like that one at all. There you go. C-. Sorry, Rich. I like a lot of your wines. This one just didn't do it for me. All right. In second to last, or third place, with a C+, Cupay 2014 Chardonnay, Santa Barbara County, wide block. This runs in at $23. I thought the oak was just too dominant in this. I thought it was okay, well built, but just I mean, there's a lot going on that I liked, but then all of a sudden that oak just went, boom, there I am. All right, in second place, number 2, with a B-B. I wasn't super excited about this, but I liked it. Array 2011 Chardonnay, Washington State. I like this producer actually quite a bit. Rolls in at 20. Is it $22 or? Can't even read my writing. I think that says 22. Anyway, around $22. I just discovered this producer. I actually like a lot of their wines. So B-B. I thought it was pretty good. There's a lot of things about it I liked. Just didn't totally hit that beautiful Chardonnay section. And in first place, number 3, with a straight up A. I like this wine, like the balance, liked everything going on with it. 2010 Mount Eden Vineyards Chardonnay, estate bottled, Santa Cruz Mountains. This rolls in at $58. They just, this is a 2010, I believe. So I've had this in my cellar for a little bit, but this is one of those producers that I think you can age anywhere from 10 to 20 years. It just gets better. If you like butterscotch, it really goes butterscotchy on you. I think their recent vintage just made it in the top 100 in the Wine Spectator. Always been a big fan of Mount Eden wines, and it doesn't surprise me that it came in first place. Anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.